Welcome to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, a weekly horror movie review podcast. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor. Subscribe to get new episodes every Wednesday. We dive into trivia, drink a little whiskey, and of course, give our no BS opinions.
Join our Discord server or message us on social media to talk all things scary.
And if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon.
You can find all these links on our website, twochicksandahorrorflick.com. Thanks for listening.
Now let's get scared. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. We're excited to be here with you. Today, we are talking about Alien from 1979. And if you are a dedicated listener, then you probably thought, hey, I thought they were going to be talking about, shoot, I forgot what.
Oddity.
Right, Oddity. Oddity wasn't playing, but when I got back from California, it was no longer playing in the theater near me, so we couldn't do it. But I told Tawny, as soon as I'm able to rent it or buy it, stream it somehow, we will do it. Then we were going to do stop motion, but we're going to do that with a podcast in Elm Street next week. And so it was Tawny's choice, and she chose Alien.
Yeah, so roundabout way to get there. I did see earlier today that Oddity should be on streaming by the 20th of this month, so August 20th. And I wonder if it'll be on Shudder because it was a Shudder movie. So I'm really hoping that it'll be available there. So we'll have to see. But yeah, awesome news there. But I am excited to talk about Alien. I thought this might be a good and relevant pick as well because we've got Alien Romulus coming out here and on the 16th, I think. So a couple of weeks. And definitely want to go see that in the theater. Excited about that because it's a Fede Alvarez directed movie. And it's also produced by Ridley Scott, which I feel like is a good sign. And yeah, but I can't believe that we've made it this far without doing Alien.
I know. There's a lot of movies, though, that we've made it this far we haven't done yet that people are probably like, when you're a horror podcast and you haven't done this?
Totally.
Insert name here.
Yeah.
We're going to get to him.
Eventually.
So, yeah, eventually. Well, Tawny, what are you drinking tonight?
I have some water. I drank quite enough this last week. It was our big company event called Summerfest, and many a drinks, many a happy hour and party. It was a really great time, and so I'm just keeping hydrated at this point. And
Nice.
Also, I might have gotten a little sick because we had lots of people coming in from lots of different places. So that's the explanation if my voice is a little scratchy. What are you drinking?
I am also drinking water, lemon water in my big orange Stanley. I have been doing, this will sound like an advertisement and it's totally not. I wish, but it's not. I've been doing this app called Reframe, and it helps you approach alcohol differently. And you can do either just cut back or you can completely stop. And what I really, really love about it, because typically when there's these types of habit building apps, I like the first couple of days, really like it, and then I don't care and I delete it. This one I've been doing every single day for the past, I would say 2.5 weeks. And it teaches you about what alcohol does to your body and your brain and all these things. And it's super cool because I'll go, oh my gosh, I thought I was just crazy, but this is why this is happening to me. And you can also just choose, like I mentioned, to cut back or to completely quit. And so what they do is, if you say like you want to completely quit, you input how much you drink. Let's say you drink every day, 3 drinks a day, every single day. It's a lot of drinking, but let's say you do that. Then what you do is if you say you want to quit, it has weekly goals for you. And so it's like it might have one day you only have 2 drinks, another day, one day you don't drink at all. And so it has like these little goals. But what I think is working for me the most is, typically especially when it comes to like drinking apps, sounds such like an advertisement. I swear it's not. There's not going to be any kind of a discount code. When you're logging your days, if you drink, let's say you didn't drink for 20 days and then you're at a barbecue and you have a beer, you log that, you're reset to 0. You're like, oh, sorry, you got to start all over. And you feel like a Big Loser, or I do. With this
Yeah.
one, it calculates how many alcohol-free days you've had. So over the past, 2.5 weeks, I had 2 drinks on 2 separate days. So it'll be like you've had, let's see if I could do math, 12 alcohol-free days. And so you feel like, not,
Yeah.
oops, sorry, you're at 0 again, loser.
Yeah.
And then it'll give you like your streaks, what's been your longest streak without alcohol, but also just your alcohol-free days. This is great compared to how you used to drink. You're doing really good. And this is what's happening in your body. It's rebuilding parts of your brain. Your digestion is getting better. It does like all this stuff. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. As we're drinking water. So we both had really long explanations of why we're drinking water.
I know. It's like, why do we feel the need? We do it like every time. We feel the need to explain. But on some level, I feel like it's like a window, an insight into kind of what we're up to as well. Like, because I have also been trying to cut back on drinking lately. It's just, we made an exception for last week because I say we because Jade and I made an agreement that we were not going to eat out or drink until we paid off our credit card. But we have made some exceptions, including our anniversary. And then this week, just being our big company celebratory meeting week, we're like, okay, that's an exception. But so now I'm back on the not drinking train. But I really like that because I hate that like all or nothing, like set back down to 0 situation. And is this a free app?
There might be parts of it that are free. I signed up for like this month for only a couple bucks or something. You could try it for a month for a couple bucks. And so I'm doing that.
Okay.
And then they have subscription plans. But I'm trying to think. I don't know. It might just be like $2 or $4 a month, or you could pay annually. I'm not sure if they have a free base version because I just went all in. I was like, okay, cool. $4 for a month. Done.
Cheap. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to check it out though.
Yeah. I really like it.
Cool.
That psychology is working for me, just to see how many alcohol-free days I can get into a month in a month. So then when I'm like, you know what, I'm really craving a glass of bourbon. I've noticed, because something with me is when I start drinking, typically I'll at least have 3 or 4. It's just the switch is like, we're on, girls, let's go for it. But with this one, I'm like, no, I really want one. And I have one. And last night I was having a glass of bourbon and actually Steve finished it. Because I was like, I quenched that kind of desire for it, and then I was like, oh, you know what, I think I'm good. And I really, because it just, guys, it affects me. Dehydrated, even one drink, dehydrated, and I've been battling headaches. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. My body is just like, girl, you're old now, you need to stop.
You need to relax.
You need to relax. But yeah, I give it a shot. It's I really like it. Cool. You know what? I think we feel like blah, blah, blahing about it because we started off the podcast with, this is what we're drinking. This is the brand of whiskey. This is the mixed drink. This is what's in it. It was like our thing. And now we're just like, water again.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Tawny, what have you been watching, reading? What of note have you been doing?
I only have a few notes, but I also want to say that I love your shirt. And
oh, thank you.
It's a Labyrinth shirt with David Bowie.
Yeah, and there's like little folks at the bottom of it.
Oh, cute. I love that. That's a very fun shirt. I feel like I haven't seen it. Is it new?
I got it like right before I went to Malaysia in October, but I haven't worn it. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's just like hanging in my closet and I haven't worn it. Yeah.
Okay. I might have to do a little search to also buy that shirt.
I got this at Torrid.
Oh, okay.
So they would have like, I think 0, and you could have, it's not going to be super fitted on you. It's going to be a little looser, but they're super soft.
Cool. That's good to know. I actually have been looking for, because most of my t-shirts I end up buying in my real like size, but I want something oversized so I can kind of like do that thing where you like tuck it, but it
Mhm.
gives a little bit more volume on the top. I've been trying to like play around with different silhouettes in my like outfits and stuff. And so I do want to get like an oversized shirt
Ooh.
so that I can create just like a different shape. But anyway,
I love their shirts because they have the coolest. Sorry, guys. Torrid is also
I
not
know.
sponsoring us, but
Tangent.
they have the softest shirts and they have the coolest ones. I got a Tupac sweatshirt, my Rolling Stones, Labyrinth. I got a Carrie, that ripped Carrie sweatshirt. All
Yeah.
of that is from them.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Real good
Okay.
stuff. Super soft
Let's
too.
check that out.
Anyway,
so what I have been watching. So obviously I watched stop motion for our conversation with a podcast on Elm Street. So that was interesting and that'll be a fun conversation with them. After watching Alien, and I'm sure we'll kind of talk about this a little bit more, Jade and I had an Alien marathon. So I watched Alien 1 through 3, and we actually started Prometheus, but like we were watching it just now before I came in here to record. So we'll finish that later. But we've already seen.
Oh, you've seen Prometheus?
Yeah, we've already seen Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and as a kid I saw like parts of Alien 3, but aside from that I actually have not watched any of the Alien movies, which I told people like twice over this last week that I had never seen Alien, and they were very shocked. I was like, yeah, I know. It's one of those where it's like I've seen enough scenes from it that I feel like I've watched it, but I had never sat down and watched the whole thing. So excited for our conversation. And then the last couple notes is that the House of the Dragon season finale is tonight. So thank you for Felicia moving our recording time up, because I was like, I have to watch this tonight. I can't have anything spoiled for me.
Season finale, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. We're way behind on that show, so we're not even close to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stay away from spoilers. Don't.
Oh, well.
I mean, I'm just assuming that something crazy is going to happen in this last episode, so we'll see. And then the only thing I've been reading since we last talked is, sorry, I was looking at use words.
I'm here for you.
Bear with me on this. But I started reading a book called Piranesi. I don't know if that's how you say it. Piranesi. By I think Susanna Clark is the author's name. I tried to just try another genre again, and this is like fantasy. It's like fantasy mystery kind of, and it is interesting, and it's holding me in. I'm about halfway through, or a little over halfway, so it's been an interesting read, and I'm determined to finish it, and I'll keep everybody updated.
Nice.
Yeah, but that is it for me. What about you?
All right. So what I've watched, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to binge. This is going to sound like, not hypocritical, oxymoron, maybe. I don't know.
Contradictory?
Contradictory. Yes, there we go. I obviously can't speak either. I've been trying to get out of the habit of when I'm cooking dinner, I immediately just put on true crime and binge it. So I'm trying to cleanse my mind and my body, because, you can feel pretty down, especially with the state of the world. And then you have the state of the world, you have then binging true crime and drinking alcohol, not a very happy inner state. So instead I thought, you know what? I have this Shudder subscription that I never watched. Let's watch horror movies. They affect me differently, right, than true crime. Yeah. So I watched Motherly. Was the first one. I'm just like, whatever looks good, I'm gonna watch it. So it's Motherly. It's about a mom, because I don't want to give anything away if people want to watch it. It's about a husband that killed a little girl, his daughter's friend, and there's some stuff that goes on. So it was, I would say, I mean, I didn't turn it off.
Okay.
And I was like, I felt like, oh, there's a really interesting idea here, and I really like the idea, but probably the acting and stuff was a little questionable. Yeah. But it was like a real good idea. So there's that. It's called Motherly. Then next I watched Bad Things. I had the exact same feeling. I thought it was curious. It's a really interesting idea, but it was like, what? So that's how I
Okay.
felt about that. So I really was like skeptical about binging anything anymore on
Yeah.
Shudder. But then I watched stop motion,
Okay.
and so I mean, I don't know if I could tell you if I liked it or didn't like it, or we just wait. But I watched stop motion. We're going to talk about it with the podcast on Elm Street. And then my last thing is Steve and I binged in its entirety Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, and we loved it. We loved it. The acting is phenomenal. The acting of everybody in that show is phenomenal. It's on Netflix, called Your Honor. It's limited series. It's only 2 seasons, 10 episodes each season. They and I will tell you, they did I'm just so impressed with writers. They made it so it could absolutely end, but they could absolutely continue the series if they wanted to. And I think there has been discussions of possibly continuing this series, but that wasn't originally the plan. I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I've been hearing some good stuff about that one.
Yeah. Whoa, man. Great acting. So good. We just finished that yesterday. The last thing I'll say is, some of you might have noticed, maybe not, but might have, that I have Miriam on all my social media and stuff like that. I was talking to the rabbi, and I was like, you know what? I really want to, feel like this next chapter in my life, start using my Hebrew name as my primary name. So I'm doing that That's why you've seen all those changes. However, Felicia's been my name forever. So I absolutely, you call me Felicia, I'm not going to go, I don't know who that is. No, that's me.
Yeah.
That's totally me. So either way, it's totally fine. Because I switched everything. And a couple of my friends were like, hey, what's this all about? But today we went and signed TT up for Hebrew school. It's only a couple days a week. And it was really cool because everyone I met, I was like, I'm Miriam. Nice to meet you. And it felt really nice. But yeah, that's really it.
I feel like that'd be hard. I feel like it would take a while to use a different name, you know? I'd be like, oh, nope, this is my other name.
No, I think because I put so much thought and love and energy into choosing what Hebrew name I wanted, what person inspired me, and this name that was inspirational to me, and this journey that's taken 13 years, I just was really ready to embrace it. Everyone at work, I have not changed my name at work. I have not changed my name legally. But yeah, you know, obviously my family is going to have a real hard time, and I would never correct them. I wouldn't even let them know. It's totally fine. So when you come and visit, you and Jade can call me Felicia. It's totally fine. I won't be offended.
Okay. Got it.
But that's it. That's what's happening in my little life.
Awesome. Cool. I feel like
for it. Oh,
I'm excited. I was just going to say, I'm excited to get back on our every 2-week cadence, you know, so that we are a little bit more plugged into what's going on in each other's lives.
Me too. And I love watching horror movies. I've been doing a lot of it myself. Like I'll just sit while like Steve has been watching the Olympics, and I'll watch horror on my laptop. Actually, this is a good transition. I watched Alien on my laptop. I had just recently seen it end of last year with the whole family on the big screen. So this time rewatching it, I was watching on my laptop with my ear pods in my little head, and Steve was sitting next to me watching the Olympics.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I fell for every jump scare in this movie. So you have to imagine it from Steve's point of view. He's just watching the Olympics, and all of a sudden he looks at me like, what? And then he just shakes his head. I did that several times, but
that's funny.
All right, friends, let's get into it then. With that transition, we are watching Alien, the very first one from 1979. I watched it on Hulu. The director was Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott, you probably know him. I just pulled some movies that I particularly really liked that he did. And if Tawny, if you know of any or want to mention any others, but Gladiator, Blade Runner, Prometheus, Martian, Thelma and Louise, Hannibal, Legend. I want a Legend shirt real bad like this, but G.I. Jane, The Grey, Black Hawk Down, and American Gangster.
Interesting. That's a lot. I feel like I only think of him in relation to this franchise, but he's done a ton.
Yeah, I didn't even put all the aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's done a ton of all across genres. Well, action, a lot of action and stuff. Oh, right. The writer was Dan O'Bannon. He also contributed to The Return of the Living Dead, Dark Star, Heavy Metal, and Total Recall. That's another good one. Our cast, Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, Tom Skerritt as Denver, John Hurt as Kane, Henry Dean Stanton as Brett, Veronica Cartwright as Lambert, Ian Holm as Ash, and Yaphet Kotto as Parker. I have to say, Lambert and Parker were my favorite. I loved Parker. He was so sassy and I loved it.
Me too. Very funny.
Yeah, he was so funny.
Yeah.
The stats, the budget was 11 million. I saw 4 million. I saw 4.5 million and 11 million. But I would say 11 million. Oh, actually, I think it was 4.5 million. And then they wanted to do the extended ending. So maybe that made it go up to 11 million. And we'll talk about that. Okay. Box office was 184.7 million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys. Rotten Tomatoes, 93%, IMDb, 8.5 out of 10, and Letterboxd, 4.3 out of 5. Awards, wanted to let you know, they won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, 3 Saturn Awards, Best Science Fiction Film, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actress for Cartwright, and a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation. This I thought was interesting as well. The critical reassessment since then, and I didn't tell you anything else that was before that. Anyways, Alien is widely considered one of the greatest and most influential science fiction and horror films of all time. In 2002, Alien was deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry. In 2008, it was ranked by the American Film Institute as the 7th best film in the science fiction genre and as the 33rd greatest film of all time by Empire.
Wow. Neat.
I have a little one-sentence summary. In deep space, the crew of the commercial starship Nostromo is awakened from their cryosleep capsules halfway through their journey home to investigate a mysterious transmission of unknown origin. All right, everybody, turn back now if you don't want this spoiled for you, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it. Tawny, Ray, kick us off. What did you think about this movie?
I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Sorry, I totally cut you off. I'm so excited.
Go ahead.
Because it was an old movie,
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little nervous too. And even when we queued it up, I was like, whoa, 79. I thought it was like in the 80s, and 79 is very close to the 80s. But I thought it was a little bit further on in the years, but 79, damn. And then we started and we just couldn't stop talking about, even for the first like 20 minutes or so, like just how fucking great it looked. I mean, that was like the main thing that stood out to me is this movie holds up. It looks incredible still. It looks like something that you could watch in theaters right now. I mean, it just was I was so taken aback by that. So that was amazing. Everything about it is very amazing. Like the acting, the story, of course, graphics. It just was such an experience. I can't believe that it has taken me this long to sit and watch the whole thing all together. But damn, yeah, this is a classic for a reason. I mean, holy shit, it's great. How did you feel about it?
I love it. I love this movie. I love Mama Alien. I just love her. I love she's my favorite character. I love seeing her. I don't know where this love for her has blossomed. I probably saw this movie when I was a kid and I thought she was so cool looking and just real badass. I love her relationship. Well, I mean, as you see more of the aliens, right? This connection between her and Ripley. I thought Ripley was super cool character. And I think that just stayed with me. I'm really happy. It didn't have the effect of like Pet Sematary on me, where seeing it again, I didn't like it. I've I love this movie. My kids also all really like this movie too, which is really cool to be able to experience it with them. This watch, because I've seen it many times, like I mentioned, we just watched it end of last year together as a family when my oldest got home from college. So watching it through this time, still totally enjoyed it. I wrote down a lot of things that I thought were kind of like funny possible misses, but the love for this movie is so deeply rooted in me, it didn't bother me. It didn't make me go, well, this is really dumb. It was just kind of like, oh, well, that doesn't really work, but whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
just,
Yeah.
because I like it so much. But yeah, I think this Alien is, oh, do I venture to say, like, my favorite Alien I've seen. I love her.
It's so cool looking, and I think the like I think I mentioned this already, but the art direction of all of this is just like second to none. I love how they get in that like spaceship when they land, and just the way that looks and everything. I just was like, wow, this is so amazing and beautiful looking. And so then and I feel like you start to get a little bit of that art direction there where like the alien does look like mechanical in some way. Like the character design is really cool. And I was surprised to see, watching a handful of Alien movies afterwards, that they really didn't do a whole lot to change the look of them, which I feel like was a smart thing to do, but I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I agree. I love that Alien. I actually have some info here on that, on our aliens. And I have some links that I'll share. I saved all the links for, I'll share it in our Discord. But O'Bannon was just really, really put a lot of thought and love and care into the creation of this story and what the aliens looked like in the story. And he pulled a lot from a lot of different science fiction, a lot of different movies. I don't have them all here, but I did want to say he also pulled a lot of inspiration from these scientists. Oh my God. Maybe I need a drink. I'm just kidding. These science fiction artists, Chris Voss, H.R. Geiger, I believe, and Jean Mobius Gerard. Specifically, Geiger's work, I hope I'm saying that right, but he said specifically, like, he found Geiger's work disturbing. It had a profound effect on him. He'd never seen anything quite so horrible and beautiful at the same time. And so I looked it up and I was like, wow, and I'll share it. You can see the alien within that style of work. It was absolutely beautiful. And they have a lot on also the creation of the aliens and what they wanted them to look like. He got from the Mama Alien, he also pulled inspiration from Francis Bacon's 1944 painting, Three Studies for Figures at the Base of the Crucifixion. And it was very bizarre. That was very cool as well. So anyways, a lot of love and care went into this idea of this beast and what he wanted it to look like, or this alien.
Oh, I'm so excited to see these like visual references, because I was sitting there thinking like, man, how do you come up with something like this that long ago? And again, I feel like I don't know, I don't feel like I see that many interesting looking aliens even now, like they're just, they end up all kind of feeling the same, or we have types that we kind of make them like, we got the bug type of aliens, we have the like octopus machines type of aliens, or machinery type things, or so I don't know. I'm just excited to take a look at those, but yeah,
you're right. A lot of times, I mean, A Quiet Place, that was a curious alien. But you're right, a lot of times the aliens are really just nasty bug-like things, or they're machines.
Yeah, and that one does stand apart a little bit, that one, and the aliens from the Tomorrow War, which people really hated that movie, and Jade and I actually kind of enjoyed it, but the aliens in that I felt a little different, but in general, yeah, it's like you kind of just get the same thing over and over again. But
Yeah, it's funny when you think of an alien, you might think of the grays, right? With the big eyes, but you don't see them often
Yeah, I
in
think they're not
movies.
scary. I think that's the thing is like, how do you make that scary?
Well, that Fourth Kind movie made them scary, but
Yeah, but we didn't see them, did we?
no, because it was all like documentary.
Yeah,
So no, but the way they described the experiences with them was
that's right.
or Fire in the Sky, which we haven't talked about, but
Hmm.
that too makes you scared of them, but you don't see them really. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Hmm.
almost better and scarier.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, awesome. Yep, I love this movie. I liked how it built the dread. It was fantastic. Um, yeah. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, we're done here.
So for this one, you're going to have a lot of like, oh, I loved this. And then I have a lot of, I loved it too. And I thought this was kind of funny on my, 20th watch. I love the aliens in this movie. I loved, they call it the face hugger
Yeah.
during production. I loved it. It terrified me, that face hugger, that has that thing down his throat. It's putting like a baby in him, but they don't know what's going on. That thing was so scary. I loved it. And then like the acid blood. So you're like, well, shoot, how do we get this off of him? So good.
Like masterfully done. I agree. And I was going to say, I'm glad you brought it back to the face hugger because we were talking about the alien, but the face hugger comes first. And that thing is so still legitimately scary looking. And I think it's just really easy to get years away from a movie and find the creatures or whatever in it like funny. It becomes funny, but not this situation. I feel like that face hugger is really scary. And I like that it's even like got its tail like wrapped around his neck. So they go to try to pull it off, but it's like strangling him. That was scary. And the acid blood, you are like, damn, how are they supposed to kill this thing? It just immediately hooks you and gets you in the mindset of this crew because there's nothing that they can think to do about it.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good too. Looked really freaky, beautiful little thing. I can say I was reading through when they were picking at it once it was dead. So it came off the guy's face and then they found it and it had died. I was like, that looks like something I've eaten before. That looks like an oyster. And they did use a bunch of different shellfish for the flesh of that thing.
Yeah, that was gross, dude. They were like poking around in that thing and I was like, it was gross. I was like, ew. They're like lifting up like flaps of, that makes so much sense. It felt like a shellfish situation. Yes. So effective. So good.
I don't eat shellfish anymore, but I ate plenty of that. I was like, this looks definitely like something I've eaten in my past. It was so gross. I will say, and this is one time where I was like, they have this thing that attaches to your face. It's pretty terrifying and chokes you. It has acid for blood. And then they discover that it has removed itself from the man's face. They then walk into the room, no weapons, no protection, nothing. And they leave the door wide open.
Yeah,
so it can just run out. I thought, so again, none of this bothers me enough, not even enough to bring my score down. I love this movie. It was a great movie. Just these things where, they might have wanted to like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a miss. I feel like it was a miss when filming that they didn't think about it. And again, doesn't ruin the movie, but
I agree totally. And I think they've made really, really smart decisions up until that point. And so then you're like, well, wait, why would they do this? They've been so cautious. And to be fair, not all of them have made sound decisions because what's his name? Who's the android guy?
Ash.
When he lets them back in, you're like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? But Ripley is like, she issues the command like, we can't let you in. You have to quarantine. We're not doing it. And so she's not budging. They're like, let us in. And she's like, absolutely not. I can't do it. So he does it anyway, but you find out later that he has reasons why he does it. So setting that aside, I feel like they've made really good decisions up until this point, but I'm with you totally. Like you saw that acid chew through, you saw that it like ate through that guy's helmet designed to withstand like another planet's atmosphere, and you're just gonna like stroll in there. I don't know. That was my first
through
moment.
like 3 floors of the ship.
Yeah.
Like, we want to make sure that thing doesn't get on us. Thank God it didn't. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I also thought like I thought the acting was good, but it seemed like whenever there needed to be some sort of a trauma, it was like so over the top. And the first one I have, it just made me smile, is when the ship landed.
Yes, dude.
It's landing so slow, and then the foot or the landing gear gently touches the planet, and all of a sudden everyone's like, what? And they're flying around, and then all the systems are broken. Everything is destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no aliens on the ship at this point. They literally just did the softest landing ever, and it destroyed the ship.
Same. Jade went to the bathroom during that moment, and he like comes back and he's like, what happened? And I was like, I don't know. I was watching it, but I can't tell you because it did the little like legs landed so smoothly, and then we cut to them inside and they're all like just getting rocked. It's like, well,
they're like, all of our systems are fucking destroyed. It's gonna take us 24 hours to fix them. I'm like, I rewound it and I was like, did I miss something? And then I tried to think, I was like, oh, is the alien already on the ship? Did it attack the ship? But later you find out, no. They just had a rough landing engine.
They had a rough landing from the inside, I guess. Yes. I don't know. Yeah. I thought that was funny too. Jade's like, I don't understand what's happening. I'm like, we're just going to keep watching.
Just go with it. So that ship, I have a note here that said the ship that they found crashed on that island reminds me of the ship in Prometheus. And I don't think I realized, or I completely forgot. Prometheus is a part of this series.
Yeah.
So that was the Prometheus ship, yes or no?
Yeah.
I loved, spoiler alert if we ever do it, Prometheus. Specifically when I watched this, I was in graduate school for religion and had just learned about the Anunnaki and was absolutely obsessed with it. I think I mentioned this before. And so I was like deep in research on the Anunnaki, and then you have them in this movie. I was smitten.
It's a great movie too. Like we probably only watched like 20 minutes of it or something, but as we were watching the beginning, I remembered the basic outline of the movie, but as we caught a few scenes, I was like, oh, I remembered more of what happened. And I'm like, I must have really enjoyed this watch because this movie, I remember almost everything about it. And that is pretty rare if you've just watched a movie once. So yeah, that's a great movie.
That's very cool because I have it right here. Ship reminds me of the ship discovered in Prometheus. And you're like, oh, Prometheus. So I was like, oh.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
When they were in there, oh, it's the prequel. That's why the Anunnaki aren't in there anymore. Now I want to go watch that. I bet Steve will watch it with me because he likes the alien movies. And I think he's a science fiction horror guy. If he's gonna like horror, it's gonna be science fiction or comedy.
That's fair.
Another one was when, let's see, was it Cain that had the thing on his face?
Yeah.
So when Cain was like kind of, again, he was just kind of bending over, looking at the eggs. Oh, and then he fell. And I was like, whoa. How did this even happen? Just another one of those things. So he just like looked totally stable and then just fell amongst the eggs. But good thing he did, or else he wouldn't have had the face hugger on him.
Right. We had to do that to move this story forward, I guess. But yeah, I am sort of like, but why? He could have just walked down there. I don't know.
Yes. To get closer to the eggs, right? But
yeah. Weird.
During this time I do have, the eggs are so cool. There's some great visuals that really hold up. The ship, the planet, everything is real nice. And like even the ship that they're on, the Nostromo's, is a model, right? But it looks so good because there are some old movies where you have models and it looks like a model.
Yeah, you can tell.
Through. Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. It looks so good. I'm telling you, like it holds up to like today's like CGI stuff. And like, I'm guessing almost everything in this movie was practical except for the explosion at the end.
Yep.
And like, you can just fucking tell. That's why I think it holds up so well.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, some shit in Alien 2 and 3 does not hold up as well. It looks so much worse. Like, and it gets progressively worse, which is weird because, you know, we're moving forward in time. So you'd think that we'd have better ability, and they look like garbage, at least some moments. They still tried to do some practical stuff, but when they tried to do CGI, you're like, ugh.
Ooh, I've seen them all, but it's been a long time. I think the only one I've seen multiple times is the first one in Prometheus. Other than that, I haven't seen them. I'm not sure. But yeah, this was all practical. The face hugger was, like I mentioned, was made out of, let's see, the eggs were fiberglass eggs, and they had inside, they had hyaluronics, of course. Innards were a cow stomach and tripe, so cow intestine and stomach inside of it. On the face hugger, the sheep's intestine, it was made out of sheep's intestine and other stuff. There was, I had mentioned all of the shellfish was its guts. And then the chest burster is the other one. And that also they used, with that, they had a fake torso, and then they were pushing the thing through the torso from underneath the chair, and the blood that squirted out, they didn't know. They knew something, the actors knew something was going to burst out of the chest, but they didn't know what it was going to look like or anything like that. And so when the blood splattered, that was real fear. And Cartwright, it shocked her so much that she fell over and went into hysterics because so a lot of her fear was real fear, because they didn't really know what was going to happen.
Interesting. This is the other woman on board, right?
Yes, the other woman. Yes.
That's, you know, what's interesting to me about that, though? I feel like of all the people's acting, hers was the only one that bothered me. So it's interesting to have her be reacting like for real, but I wasn't buying a lot of what she was. Is she the one who also got the best supporting actress?
Yes.
Weird. I don't get that personally, but that's maybe just me.
Yeah, she was very hysterical. Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree.
I did love that moment, though, where the blood sprays first and everybody just stops. There's this like, whoa, what the fuck was that? And I feel like you don't get that a lot. Like a lot of times it's just immediately reacting and panic. But that moment of pause was like, I don't know, it just stood out. It was really good.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because it was real. It was a real reaction. Yeah. You're like, and you would be stunned. You're right. Typically in movies, oh, get around, stop the bleeding. Or they're just like stunned.
Yeah. Because what the fuck? What could have caused that? That makes sense as a reaction.
And then the alien. Oh, this is what I was thinking of. The alien was sculpted plasticine. Vertebrae, they incorporated vertebrae from snakes and cooling tubes from a Rolls Royce.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The dripping saliva was KY jelly. Okay. Some of the tendons were made from shredded condoms.
Okay.
It was like, I just loved reading all this because it was just, and then of course the mechanical moving teeth and stuff like that. Just like they took all of this stuff and they put it together to create these aliens. And I was having a lot of fun just reading through this and seeing.
Yeah, it's like really scrappy, to take these like everyday things and use them to create such an amazing looking thing on camera.
Yeah. One spot where I loved that I fell for every jump scare. And one spot that I was like, okay, guys, I'll let it go. But I'm wondering how there was rain and light within a ship in outer space. So when the man is walking through, and his name was Lambert, and he was walking through looking for the cat, And
Yeah.
this room is wet and there's light. It's definitely a building. There's light, there's rain. And I was thinking, okay, maybe whatever type of fancy science stuff that's running the ship, it had that room that this generator or whatever's in is full of light, and maybe there's condensation and water involved. Okay, I'll go for it. So this is just a part of the ship, right? But then he takes off his hat and starts like letting the water go in his face, and he's opening his mouth.
I know.
So I was thinking, if that was something from like machinery, you probably wouldn't do that. Again, didn't ruin it for me, but I was like, maybe is this a part where everybody was just like, oh yeah, let's utilize this rain. And so just go in there and enjoy the rain and forget that they're in outer space while they were filming.
Yeah, I had the same thought about him putting it in his mouth. I was like, yeah, you probably don't want to be drinking that. Like, even if it was just condensation on the inside of the ship, like, it's like running over greasy ship parts. Like, there's no way that you would actually want to do that. And I was also like, what the fuck?
What was your mouth?
I was really, both of us were really confused by this. It seemed to get really, there was a lot of condensation. It was like raining, and they also seemed to get really hot. So, because they were sweating, they were like drenched in sweat. So I assumed, and I don't know if I picked this up from it for any reason, like if they mentioned something and I don't remember, or if later in movies it's mentioned, but I felt like the alien changed the atmosphere to be more conducive to it, because like when they find the eggs, they're under a layer of fog. Yeah. And so I assumed that there was maybe something like that going on, but I don't think that's based in any fact. I don't think anybody mentions it in the movie, but that did start to get a little weird, and everybody was just like drenched, like so sweaty.
Yeah, I only read one thing. I didn't read anything about that or see anything that specifically that the alien changed the atmosphere. I did read about the sweat, and they wanted them to look sweaty and dirty, so they had glycerin on them. And the reason it was mentioned is because Sigourney Weaver had an allergic reaction to the glycerin.
Oh, shit.
And
Okay.
so she was like, and they used 4 different cats. So from the dander from 4 different cats and the glycerin, she was having allergic reaction. So she stopped using the glycerin, and then the cat allergic reaction wasn't as bad. So there you go.
Okay.
So that was all. And I wonder, because when they were in the more hospitable part of the ship, it's all white and that's where they eat and stuff like that, they all seemed nice and air conditioned. They didn't seem sweaty. But in the other portions of the ship, yeah, they were like drenched with sweat, and
it was just wet in there. It did seem like it was just straight up raining
everywhere. Like, yeah, puddles of rain.
Yeah.
And I
It's
mean,
weird.
And when you watch it, it's weird, and then you can kind of say, well, I don't know how a spaceship runs in deep space, so maybe they just need a lot of water, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Like cinematography, lighting wise, like it looked cool. So that was about as far as I got. I was like, this doesn't make sense, but I'll take it. Sure.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. I have a note about the chest bursting scene. Was not filmed in one take. There's a myth out there that it was. It wasn't. It was filmed twice. On the first take, the chest burster was unable to cut through Kane's shirt, so the crew needed to reset and shoot again. The failed attempt is visible in the finished film, since director Ridley Scott thought it made it look like the creature was struggling to push its way out, and made the scene more violent. And then, according to designer Ron Cobb, the 2 takes of the scene were shot from multiple angles. And about 40 minutes of the footage was available for screening. I don't know why I added that part. Who cares? But anyways, the first part. Scratch that from the record. I've been watching Your Honor, you heard, so.
Right.
Disregard, jury, disregard. I have something fun about the cat too. Jones, to get the cat to react fearfully to the descending alien behind the man, a German shepherd was placed in front of him with a screen between the two. So the cat was hissing at the German shepherd.
Oh, okay.
The cat was realistically hissing as well.
Yeah, that makes sense, because it did look really scared. And I kept expecting him to get infected and it never happened, thankfully.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, good.
Thing on the cat.
Yeah.
I was laughing, and it would be totally realistic if you're running from an alien. But that cat carrier, she was tossing that thing, throwing it, kicking it all over the place. It cracked me up. But it would be realistic. Like you would be stumbling. You would be like tossing the cat carrier in because there's an alien chasing you. But it made me giggle a little bit thinking of the cat in there. It was not in there, but that made me laugh.
Yeah, totally. The one thing this is something that I didn't understand, and it may have had something to do with the cat. So she goes back for Jonesy, right? She, if I'm remembering correctly, the sequence of events, she initiates the self-destruct protocol for the ship. She goes and finds Jonesy. She has like 15 minutes, which is not a lot of time. She goes and finds Jonesy, puts him in the cat carrier, and is trying to get out, but the alien attacks her, and so she drops it. She runs back to the thing and tries to stop the self-destruct, but I wasn't sure why. Like, this part confused me because there didn't seem to be a reason for her to stop the self-destruct other than the cat was left, but she could have just picked it up on her way out. I don't know. Did you catch this? Was I just not watching it close enough?
No, I think that the ship she needed to get on, the alien was in the way. So she was on her way to the ship that was to escape with the cat, but the alien was there.
Okay.
And so then she ran back. I was wondering why she didn't put the cat down and use her fire thing on the alien to get it out of the way. But instead she at first I thought she was running back a little bit to get like distance, but then she just kept going and then going. And then she went all the way back. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, fire up that alien. Maybe it'll jump into the duct and then book it to the ship. So that was, I thought, odd, but I think that's why she didn't go. That I think she was trying to stop it because she couldn't get to the ship in time, possibly. But then she ended up getting to the ship in time. So she would have just waited for a minute. Would have been fine.
Yeah, I got confused in this part because I was like, where I didn't understand where she was going. The geography of everything is not totally clear just because there's a lot of hallways and ships and other ships and I don't know.
Massive, that thing.
Yeah, huge. But then I didn't understand her starting it and then canceling it because it is like you have to just get off this fucking planet. But this was the only part that affected maybe my score and that I didn't love is just this end part. I felt like the pacing was sort of chugging along, like and again, this is me viewing it through my 2024 lens. So it's probably not a fair criticism of at least when it was released. But towards the back, we're like really just, moving slow. And there's a lot of just like looking around for the alien, especially when we're under the gun of time. We have 15 minutes to get fucking away from this before it blows up. And we're just going to like tiptoe around. I was like, this is a run situation. Both of us said that. Like as soon as she gets like down on the elevator, we're like, this is a run and gun. Like you got to just get in and get out. What are you doing?
You'll be happy then. So I have something else to share on Discord. It's a video of a deleted scene. And when she was descending with her fire gun, I think towards getting out, I believe. And it's before she has the cat. She goes into a room and discovers Denver. That was his name, right? Yeah, Denver and Kane cocooned in this room. So they are like in this cocoon in the walls. And Denver, here, I'll just read it to you. And I watched it. And the reason they cut it is because of pacing. They wanted it to be as soon as you start getting towards the end, it's just you're taking the audience for a ride and you're running and you're trying to get in the thing and then the thing comes back. So I guess they didn't quite hit the pacing mark, but One scene that was cut from the film occurred during Ripley's final escape from the Nostromo. She encounters Dallas and Brett, who have been partially cocooned by the alien. O'Bannon had intended the scene to indicate that Brett was becoming an alien egg, while Dallas was held nearby to be implanted by the resulting face hugger. So the face hugger that was going to come out of Brett. Production designer Michael Seymour later suggested that Dallas had become sort of food for the alien creature, while Ivor Powell, just people involved in the movie, suggested that Dallas is found in the ship as an egg still alive. Scott remarked, they're morphing, metamorphosizing, they're changing into, being consumed. I guess by whatever the alien's organism is, into an egg. The scene was cut partly because it didn't look realistic enough and it slowed the pace of the escape sequence.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested to see that just to see how it looked. But yeah, I mean, I could have used a few minutes cut out of that last part. Getting like kind of bored about it.
Yeah, especially her walking down the thing, the ladder. You're going and you're going. Yeah. The original story was supposed to end at Ripley getting away and the ship exploding. But then they wanted to add the ending that we see today, where the alien actually gets on the ship and there's a final struggle with Ripley.
Gotcha.
And so they went back, Ridley Scott went back to the studios and was like, we really want to add this last piece, and they got approved. And so they got the extra funding to do that last piece. And for that last piece, Scott wanted the alien to bite Ripley's head and then make the final log entry in her voice. But the producers vetoed this idea because they believed the alien should die at the end of the film. But that's what they wanted to do. And I kept rereading that, like, is it animating her, or like, is it making her make a log? It was bizarre. I don't even know how that would even work.
I assumed it was like where she died and we're getting her last log. But
he wanted the alien to bite off bite off. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I said bite Ripley's head. There's a really important word in there. Bite off Ripley's head and then make the final log entry in her voice. Oh, okay. So it's just her voice as though they're okay. I understood. Okay. Sorry. I thought, like, is it animating her? Like, this is weird. This is like, that doesn't work, but that makes sense. Okay. But they wanted the alien to die at the end, which is good because then they're able to use Ripley in future ones. And I really do like that connection her and the alien have. I don't remember a whole lot of the other movies, but I do remember I like their connection.
Yeah. And that makes sense too. I bet they knew on some level that they had like a winner on their hands and wanted to leave it open to continue on with the franchise. And they did. I mean, they continue to bring Ripley back over and over again throughout at least the fourth one. So
yeah. I'm glad they did this as well, because I liked how the alien looked seamlessly integrated into the ship, and then it came out. I thought that was just awesome. I loved it.
Me too. Yeah, I liked that last struggle scene too, just because it did look really cool, like trying to get it out of the escape pod and watching it float off into space. It was like,
I do think that was kind of funny how it was out and then it just kind of got sucked back to the ship. It was like, and I thought, oh, it's because it's attached because of the
that's
spear.
what I thought.
But then it just crawls up the engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it goes, I thought, okay, it's being pulled because of the door. Then it crawls up into the engine. She turns on the boosters or whatever it is, full blast, and then it goes away. So why doesn't it have the thing attached to it anymore?
Yeah, good question. I guess I assumed it broke, but
okay.
Yeah, that was me just giving a lot of suspending a lot of disbelief. I was like,
yes.
Cool, blast it off into space. Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. Because it looked like a bunch of water came out of not like fire, came out of the
Yeah.
boosters or whatever, the engines.
Also a weird place for the water to be, but sure.
Okay.
Looks
I've
cool.
never built a ship that goes into deep space, so maybe
Yeah.
water is the key, right?
I mean, it would get really hot. It makes sense that they got to keep the engines cool.
Oh, you're right. They
With
did
water?
mention, oh, maybe it's coolant. Because remember
Okay.
when she told them, go get as much coolant as you can.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's why it's maybe that really shiny, fluorescent bluish shape
Mm-hmm.
or color.
Yeah. On the same note as keeping Ripley alive at the end and then using her in the next handful of sequels, she really is an amazing final girl. And I wasn't sure, just not having watched the whole movie, if I was gonna feel the same way, because most people do in their first breath, where they talk about final girls. Ellen Ripley is like one of the first three that you think of, you know? And she was badass, but not for the reason that I thought she was going to be. Like, she definitely was a survivor and she made some smart moves, but nothing like ridiculously super over the top intelligent or anything. I mean, she was scrappy, you know, she was like tying together those two guns. She was ready to fight. So like on that level, she was definitely a survivor. But what I liked about her the most was just how fucking direct she was. Like she really, again, this movie is from 79 and she really stood out to me as a very different feeling, strong female lead in the way that she talked and interacted with all the people she worked with. And she was so fucking no bullshit. I mean, you know, Ash lets them in and she goes to confront him pretty immediately and is like, you broke protocol. And he is like, yeah, but what would you have had me do? Like, leave them outside? She's like, yeah, like, no bullshit. And then she finds that there was a message to him to, or no, maybe that's later. But I just feel like she just confronts him in a way that you just don't see in movies because we're sort of banking on the non-communication almost. Yeah.
When she found that message, she threw him into the wall and then she immediately was going to go tell everybody. I love that because so many times they're like, well, I don't know, like maybe I don't tell people, or they just go in there and they, for some reason, don't tell people. You're like, tell everybody.
Yeah. And there was something else that she said to him when in that first interaction that I'm not remembering, but I was just like, fuck yeah. Like, that was so good. Or even before that, when she says, he's like, you're not the captain of this ship. And she's like, well, the two people who are above me in the chain of command went outside of this ship. So that means I'm in charge and I'm not letting them in. Like, I just loved that. I was like, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Ellen Ripley. Okay.
I agree with you. I like that she was strong and she stuck by. So many times you see, well, this is the protocol, but I guess we won't do it. This is like one of the first times she's like, sorry.
Yeah.
Even though her captain, and he's like, dude, Ripley. And she's like, I hear you. And the answer is no.
Yeah. She's like so steadfast about it. Like, and I was like, damn, like still, that just doesn't feel like. Sometimes when you get strong female leads, you know, they kind of fall into the same sort of tropes. And it's either that they're, you know, overly mean or something. And I just felt like her whole just way of being was so direct.
And responsible.
And also very pragmatic. Like she also was like, we're going to have to figure out a way to do this, you guys. Like it was just amazing. And I was surprised that I liked her so much as a final girl because of that, not necessarily because of her survival instincts, which I think is normally what I appreciate in a final girl.
Yes, I agree. How about with Parker, when he was like, you know, leaving the room and did she use the F word? But she was like, listen to me now. Yeah. Remember? Because he was and he stopped and he was like, go on then. Like that all feel very real. like they were fighting. And she was like, sit the fuck down and listen to what I'm saying right now. Then she says it and she goes, and the one Cartwright, she was like, whimper, whimper. And she's like, do you have a better idea? Didn't
Yeah.
think so. Let's fucking go do it now.
Yeah. But the way that she says it is like she's just in so much command and in control. She's not like berating these people.
Yeah,
but she is like, shut the fuck up. Here's what we're gonna do. Like,
yeah, because he's walking away from her, and I hate when people do that.
Yeah,
when they disagree with you and they just start walking away from you into the other room. So disrespectful.
Oh, I like when she fucking shuts the door.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the same scene, but is it? If she shuts the door on somebody, she's like,
yes, I think that is when she is questioning Denver, and he is just walking away from her, and she's questioning him letting the guy in with the alien attached to his face, and he's just walking away from her like, shut up, blah, blah, blah. And she shuts the door right in his face,
stops
the
him.
little electrical door. Yep. And he turns around and she's like, you're going to talk to me. Like, this, why did you do this? And now look. And she never was like, I told you so, even though, she was like, motherfuckers, I told you so.
Yeah, totally.
All of y'all.
And I also, I like how that just reminded me that there are these moments of comedy in this movie that were really rich and great, and it didn't like detract from the story itself. But that was one of them. When she closes that door, we laughed at that because it was like the fucking audacity. I just love it. And most of them came from Parker. I really liked when she was downstairs talking to them over there was like, I don't know, fog spraying out of a thing, and they're like, what she's trying to talk to him, and then she walks away and he turns it off.
Yes.
Like they were doing it on purpose.
Yes.
It was like moments like that were very funny, and I was like, this doesn't get, I don't think, the credit it deserves for these moments.
I totally agree.
One other thing that I really loved, I did not see Ash being an android coming at all. Like, that really surprised me. I was pretty much just convinced that he was the science officer and that he was committed to science above saving people's lives. And so because I feel like we've seen that time and time again since this movie. So I was like fully prepped for him to just be a person obsessed with discovering this alien. So when he's like sweating white.
Yes.
Jade and I are so confused. We're like, is he sweating milk? Like, what is going on? But then right after that, they like get into a fight and she like chops his head off. And we both were like, wow, like, what the fuck is this?
I love it.
He like, I'm just glad that this wasn't ruined for me because it was a really good experience watching it for the first time. And then when they sit him down and they like turn him back on and his head is like, his decapitated android head is sitting there next to the rest of his body. And they turn him back on and he's like talking. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's got to be one of the most unnerving scenes of the movie as a whole. Like, that visually looked so creepy and so well done. I was thinking, how the fuck? I mean, this would be actually pretty simple to pull off because you just like make a table and put somebody's head through and dress it to look like it's, their neck or whatever. But damn, I was like, the milk sort of like the blood, whatever that is supposed to be of theirs, running over his face and him talking to her. I just was like, this is creeping me out. And I love it.
Nice. I love it. The innards or some of the wiring for that android guy I read catheters, some sort of a catheter. So like those
that makes sense.
Those ball things. Yeah, that was a really cool scene. I did not remember he was an android the entire time.
Okay.
I did remember this watch that he was sus. Yeah. And that he went there. That was his command, was to go there for that, to get the alien. But I forgot that he was an android. The one note I made, this was the last thing that made me kind of go, you guys didn't need to do that, was Ripley is fine. And then when she faces him, all of a sudden her nose is bleeding. And that's when he has the white. And I think they put that in our face to
Mm,
see she's human, he's not. She's
yeah.
bleeding blood, he's bleeding something different and
Yeah.
sweating something different. And they didn't need to do that. So all of a sudden I was like, what happened to her, what happened to her nose? I did think it was also funny when he was trying to shove that magazine down her mouth.
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
And then after, when they were all fighting, when Cartwright was pulling Ripley away and Ripley was like, oh,
It was weird. It was weird.
Like, these guys are so over the top. But again, I love it. It was just so silly. And then what did did he knock his head off with a magazine? Because I know he hit him with something different, but then he picked something up and it was only like this big and it was super fast. And he hit him and his head flies off. I'm like, did he just decapitate the android with a magazine?
I don't know. That's funny.
I hope not, because that's just silly. But it's so quick. It
did happen so fast. Yeah.
My only complaint watching it in 2024 is I like that you don't see too much, but sometimes it was really hard for me to figure out in general what was going on. How was the alien killing them? How was, like, it was just like these fast snippets of things, and I wish I don't need to see everything, because I do like some things being hidden from me. It makes it scarier, but there was some stuff I was like, what exactly happened just now?
Yeah, I agree. Probably they wanted to not show too much of the practical effects so that it didn't look fake. But I do feel like they shaved off a little bit too much a lot of times, because it was really fast and it was hard to know what was going on. You just kind of had to use like context clues to figure out what happened. And so, yeah, that's one of them that it happened so fast that I was like so shocked and I didn't know. And then I was like, oh, he's a fucking robot. I guess that makes sense. Because I was like, what the fuck? It like just ripped off like a whole neck circle. Got it.
Did he have like deodorant all over his head and now he's sweating white?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh my God.
And the only other note that I took was not really about this movie, but this made me, it kind of set me down a whole thought process about how much we take for granted in these sci-fi movies in general, cryosleep, and putting people in like a stasis while they're traveling through space. But that's not in reality something that we can do yet. And it's something that people have theorized could happen. And there have been people who have frozen their body in the hopes that they can be unfrozen in several years when the technology arrives. But I've also heard that those have gone under. Those companies have gone under, and those people have just died because they didn't have the funding to continue like refrigerating these bodies. I'll have to dig this article up. I think Jade is the one who read about it first and told me. I'll see if I can find this. But yeah, it's just like not something that we know how to do. So anyway, that's a side note. Don't have any actual details for you there, but I'll try to find it. But it made me think, what if there was a space exploration movie that doesn't stand on that assumption? How would you do like multi-year travel? You'd have to plan for generations and generations of people to like live and procreate and die. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like that was an interesting concept that we've never seen, or at least that I have seen. So
yeah,
if anybody's got Rex, let us know. But
yeah. Ooh, and then how would you you would have to, if you're procreating and raising the children, and then they would have to be betrothed to each other to make sure that you don't, the chromosomes and such, right? So that you have healthy bloodlines and you're not
inbreeding.
Yeah, thank you.
And then how would you keep, it'd be like a game of telephone. How would you keep the information from that many generations down? Like, how long would it actually take you to get to some other planet, and how many generations would that be? And what I just think that's like an interesting premise, what that could introduce. And they do a little bit of this in Pandorum, if you remember. That's the one that Jade picked that we watched.
But they were in a cryosleep too, weren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there are a lot of people in pods.
Mm-hmm. But there's kind of another part to that movie that sort of answers that question of like generations of people on a ship like this. But anyway,
the only other thing I could think
about
what is Star Trek, where the TV show, they just zoomed. It was like, we need to go into deep space, and then they go into the hyperspeed, and you go Mars, and now you're in this other solar system.
Yeah, that's the other way that it's like you travel through black holes, basically, like to get wherever you want to go. But again, that's, science fiction. I wonder what kind of science fiction we could make if we didn't assume that you could travel with those two things. What does that then mean?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it'd be difficult, but I don't know. Just an interesting thought starter.
All right. So are you ready to rate this?
I am. Okay, so I think I'm going to give this one a 4.75.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, this movie is great. Again, I love almost everything about it. The only reason why I couldn't give it a higher score is just because, towards the end, the pacing is a little like rough, and I don't know. I also don't have like a nostalgia tie as much to it, so I think that's hard. But I went back to look at The Thing, which was kind of my first thought, and I gave that a 4.5. And that movie is really great, and I love it too. But I think I liked this more. And other movies that I gave a 4.75 is like Midsommar, Hostel 2. So those are like, they're high up there. I love those movies. So that's a very good score for me.
I had the exact same score.
Okay.
So you had mentioned that you'd looked at The Thing. So I looked at that. I liked this more than that movie. Sorry if anyone thinks that's sacrilegious, but I definitely did. Then I started looking through other Alien movies, other movies, and this isn't even the same movie, but I think nostalgia wise it is. I saw Carrie.
Oh yeah.
And I love Carrie, and I was like, do I love Carrie more than Alien? I'm like, no, you know what? I think I love these two movies. This is perfect. I feel really solid about that score.
The same. Okay, so you gave Carrie a 4.75 too.
Yeah. So I gave it the same score as Carrie. Yeah, I think I gave Midsommar too a 4. Did I give that a 4.7? 5 as well, because I saw Midsommar, and that's when I said, we look at all this, we don't make you listen to us choose the score,
right?
And when I saw that pop up, I was like, oh, I love that movie. That's the one I was talking about.
Okay,
but
yeah, you also gave that a 4.75.
Yeah, I wonder why. I love that movie, but I enjoy this just totally different. But Carrie was because those are both old movies that I both really love, even though there are some things that you might be like,
yeah, totally.
Awesome. All right, everybody, so we're going to wrap this bad boy up. Please be on the lookout. We're going to be recording with a podcast on Elm Street next week. We're going to be talking about stop motion. If you want to prepare for that, if you have Shudder as well, go watch it on Shudder. We're also recording with a horror panel this weekend. We'll make sure we post all of the details on that. So look out for that episode. So we have a couple of things coming out. Should be very interesting. It's on mental health and horror. So I'm very excited for that. And if you've seen Alien, please do share your favorite scenes, quotes, or theories on social media using the hashtag 2ChicksHorrorFlick. All right. And while you're there, if you like us, please do give us a follow. And what else, Tawny?
You can support us by giving a like, review, and subscribe on whatever podcatcher you're listening to us on. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.